Hey guys, this is Pastor Ray, and this is Hope from the Hill on Father's Day. And by the way, to all you dads, happy Father's Day today. I have a special verse that I want to share with you today. It's found in John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35. And it says this, Jesus says, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." Pretty simple stuff, except it's extremely hard to accomplish. Jesus said we are to love one another. And so I have a very special guest today with me. Let me introduce to you Jordan Warner. Many of you may already know Jordan. Jordan attended Mid-America Nazarene University. Jordan is a close personal friend of my son Bradley. And Jordan is a member right here at Heritage Hill Church. And I guess the best description of who Jordan is he's family. And so, Jordan, tell us a little bit about yourself and share with us some of your personal experiences as a mixed race person and how that has influenced your identity.
All right, well, as you see, I am mixed race. I am half white, 25% Native American, 25% African American. And I'd say it's been a unique experience growing up. I've had the opportunity to live in Bellevue, in Millard, in North Omaha, South Omaha, lived on the Indian reservation. And so it's been a unique experience. I've seen the highest of highs and lowest of lows community-wise. So it's unique. That's how I'd explain it.
Yeah, yeah. How's that? How do you identify with that? I mean, you said you're 25% American or Native American. I couldn't think of the word Native American. 25% African American. But then you said you're half white. Would that be white American too?
Yeah.
Okay, so
there you go.
100% American.
Yeah.
All those together. And what you are literally the example of the melting pot right here in your own identity.
Yeah.
And you've experienced a lot of different things, living in different communities right here in the Omaha metro, but also up at Pine Ridge. And you've experienced how people respond to different people in all of those different formats, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, that's pretty amazing. So share with me, Jordan, your feelings about the current events that are taking place all across America and this protest movement that's going on. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I'd say it's eye-opening and it's kind of humbling in the same sense because growing up I had it different in every place that I lived at. So if I was in the community here, everyone sees me as a African American or a black person, opposed to when I lived in North Omaha, everyone saw me as a light-skinned, half-white kid, and then also opposed to when I was in Pine Ridge as someone who just saw me as a black person. So it's humbling, it's eye-opening, and I think it just needs to be talked about for sure in every household. So yeah.
And there's something within us as the human race that draws us to people who are like us. And somehow, for some reason, I naturally, as a theologian, I think that it's our carnal nature. It's the bad part in us that causes us not only to attract to like people, but then to somehow set aside unlike people. So the people that don't fit in, we kind of are suspicious about them. And that's true of all of the different people groupings. And so at least that's been my experience. But we're going to talk about your experience, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think people need to understand about what's going on? How do we relate to this?
I think when you look at anyone, when they say Black Lives Matter, I don't want you to look at it, I don't want people to look at it as like only Black Lives Matter, like that's the only thing that matters. I just think at the moment, the black community needs a little more attention and needs a little more love and a little more care. And we need to kind of bring more awareness to their struggles and their hardships, because I know I can relate to them in so many ways and still not relate to them in so many ways. So I've still had to learn, and I think we all can do some learning throughout this.
Yeah. So it's really about not isolating a group of people, but saying, hey, here's a group of people that right now need focus.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
I know that, you know, as Christians, we oppose abortion, and so we say, you know, unborn babies matter, right?
Yeah.
But that's not saying that older folks don't matter.
Right.
And it's not saying that middle-aged people that get sick don't matter, or, but it's saying, hey, we need to focus in on this because here's a specific issue, and we want to affirm, right?
For sure.
We want to affirm those of a different background, that they're as important.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I totally get that. That's pretty cool. So, what do you think God is saying to his people?
I think he's saying that, you know, we have to be quiet and we have to listen. There's a lot of hardships that some people living in this neighborhood or in this community don't understand.
Right.
That's going on, you know, 10, 15 miles up the road. It's kind of two different worlds. And, you know, God's not telling us to be divisive and separate ourselves from other people. He wants us to be in relationship with each other. So instead of, you know, looking at them for what their hardships are and being, you know, I guess you could say kind of ignorant towards it, even if it's passively, you don't want to get yourself into the mindset where you don't want to relate to people and you don't want to help them. And I feel like sometimes we do that without even noticing. So I think God's telling us we need to listen and find a way to help.
You had talked to me earlier today as we've been, you know, preparing for this conversation, a little bit about how the media has influenced what we see, how they're driving the narrative. Yeah. And I think what happens sometimes, and I kind of wanted to know how you feel about that as well, or for you to share it, is that they intentionally, at times, put stuff out there to get us defensive. Yeah. You know? They know how people that look like me are going to respond to certain things. Right. So they throw that out there to get people that look like me to respond in a negative way. Right. And man, that's why people who look like me better check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. We got to be careful about how we respond. Yeah. Because I can respond out of emotion and it not really reflect who I am or what I really believe. And I think I think there's other media outlets that are doing the exact opposite, that are getting people that look like you to respond, because they don't want us to be united. No. And brother, they can't divide us. Right. They just can't. I love you.
Yeah, for sure, I love you.
And so anyways, talk. Maybe I stole your thunder, but
oh no, you're good.
Talk a little bit about how the media has affected this.
Just from what I've seen, I went and protested in Kansas City, down at the plaza, because I live in Olathe, so I went and protested, and then I was there for 6 hours or so, and at least what felt like 6 hours. I was there for a while, and I didn't see anything negative going on. There's a couple people who lash out and say words that they maybe don't mean, but not once did I see anyone get aggressive or walk up towards a person and walk up towards the police and kind of, you know, entice them per se. I didn't see anyone rioting, and it just seems as though the media doesn't focus enough attention on the good things happening throughout the day. They don't focus the unity part on it. They didn't see the people walking in the street. Yeah, I saw helicopters and everything all around, but not one of them was really recording what was going on. I walked in the street probably, I want to say around a block around the fountain, and it was great. You know, there was kids, even though probably not the best environment, but you know, I commend those people for their bravery, bringing their kids out.
So you were down there, but you weren't alone. You had someone with you. Who was with you?
My girlfriend Anna came with me.
Your girlfriend Anna, and you were never worried about her safety for the 6 hours that you were down there with the protest.
No, not at
How
all.
many people did you tell me you thought were there on the plaza at Kansas City?
Probably tens of thousands. I was thinking up to there was a lot of people throughout.
You
that was
mentioned
people,
50,000.
Yeah,
I think
that
it's
was
probably possible.
That
I
was,
don't know what the plaza's
it
like.
just what it looked like to me. There was people all around the street. There was people in the middle on the grass by the fountains, and there was people also coming in and out. So
Right.
not everybody was able to stay the whole time, but people came in and out and were able to express themselves and come and see everybody and kind of see that we were all united. And it wasn't
Right.
just black and it wasn't just white.
Right.
There was plenty of other people. It was a good thing to see everyone unified. But once you watch the news at 10 o'clock, it didn't look like it was unified. We saw riots, and we
Right.
saw the people who aren't there to be unified. We saw the people who were there to gain personal advantage. So I think the media kind of drives the wedge right there, especially in certain outlets. You know, we're not
Right.
going to name them, but it's just,
Yeah, no,
it's just how it is.
That's
yeah.
irrelevant. Because they're all guilty, right?
Exactly.
They
yeah.
are all guilty.
No matter what.
I saw a meme not that long ago that instead of quarantining all of us for Corona, we should quarantine the media
Mhm.
and see if the whole world doesn't get a little bit better for a
Right.
while. But anyways, so at Heritage Hill Church, Jordan, we are all about families. We believe here that that parents are the best disciple makers on the planet.
Yeah.
And that good, solid Christian homes is not just the salvation of the church, but the salvation of our entire society. That is God's intent. And so we're a church, and we preach Christ crucified.
Right.
And at Heritage, we want to pass that to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing that about who we are, how can our church make a difference? And what are the challenges that we need to step up to in order to do that?
For sure. So I think of examples of like us going out on mission trips, like when you guys went to Pine Ridge one time.
Right.
I think you can do that here in your own community instead of kind of turning a blind eye to it as per se, but
Wait a minute.
not
What you're saying is we don't have to actually go hundreds or thousands or countries away
Yeah.
to find need.
Yeah.
We can actually just drive up 75.
Yeah, you can drive up 75, and once you
And
get to Hamilton Street,
we're
there
gonna
you're
find
at.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to live on Hamilton, and that's right on the edge of downtown. And after downtown, you can take a look for yourself. That's where all the help is needed.
Yeah.
And you hear the bad things that happen up there, but I would urge you just not to be scared. That's the biggest problem, I believe, when we go into places we don't know, is we're scared of what's going to happen to our personal belongings, what's going to happen to us. But if you go in there with a clear heart, clear mind, and knowing what you're going to do there, which is help, you gotta take that leap of faith, and
Yeah.
we can do that in our own communities, no matter where you live, whether it be here in Omaha or whether it be me in Kansas City. You could be anywhere, and you can always find a community that's in need. You don't have to go hundreds of miles, different country, different state. There's help is needed everywhere. So I would say get out there and just do what God intended. Spread the message and go help.
You mentioned something when we were talking earlier about inviting people to the church.
Yeah.
Share that with us.
I think inviting people
Specifically when we're talking about getting outside the walls and even outside of Sarpy County.
I think when you go out, don't just invite people to the church. Take the church to them.
Yeah.
There's plenty of things. You could hold a worship with a bunch of random people in the street. I mean, you look at it, the protests, there's people singing. There's people talking,
Praying.
just having circles of people talking and having conversations. I mean, we can take that and you can go lead worship somewhere, and you can hold a prayer anywhere. You can hold it on the street, in a field. We should take the church to the people in need, not tell them, hey, get out of your comfort zone right away and come on over here to our church, because odds are they're probably not going to come.
Right.
They're in their comfort zone, but go to their comfort zone, it might lead them out of it.
So I want to be careful with this next thing, because I'm just springing it on you, and also I don't want to misspeak in any way. But what do they need more? Or that's not even the right way to say it. So I want to say it the right way. I want to make sure that I communicate this with a pure heart, because I believe that we have a need. We, Heritage Hill Church, we have a need that is met when we do exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
When we move outside of our comfort and we go out and we engage lost people. Man, Pastor Ben just tore it up a couple weeks ago, preaching about that. And we need to get out there, and it fills a need for us. But it meets a need in the community as well.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to give the impression that they are the benefactor of our goodness, because I think it's a joint benevolence.
Yeah.
We grow in that as they grow in that. We kind of need each other, right?
For sure.
But my point is, and you had alluded to it in our previous conversation, that they need us to engage with them. They don't just need us to write a check and send to them.
Yeah, I think.
Right?
Yeah. I made the example with you earlier. You can put as much money into something as you want, but you can't depend on that money to be spent the right way.
Right.
There's a lot of people who hold fundraisers or put money into things blindly and expect that money to go exactly where it's supposed to. And you can't depend on everybody for that, especially when some people don't know better. I know if you would have given me, say you give me $100,000 to help in my community somewhere, I don't even exactly know what I'd do with $100,000.
Right.
I've never held that kind of money. I've never been given that responsibility. And I think
Me
money,
either, brother. I would need it.
it's tough. Money's a tough thing to do right by.
Right.
So I think if you give yourself as, say, the sacrifice, you have to give yourself to that community. You can't just give them money. Money.
And
is
you know
the
what I
best
have found?
benefactor.
What I have found with people is that sometimes we can write a check which keeps it soothes us. It keeps us from having to engage by writing a check. But if I put myself into something, my check comes with me.
Right.
So it's not a matter of, well, I can go and serve and I don't have to give any money.
Exactly.
It's wherever I go and serve, my money kind of follows me in those places. So wherever I go, my money goes. But there's times that I send my money off without me.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about really engaging and making a difference. And so, well, man, it's been great to have this conversation with you, Jordan.
For sure.
And before I wrap this all up, I just want to make sure, because one of the things that you told me is that you felt like you needed a place at the table. And I want you to know, brother, you always, always, always have a place at my table. Always. And tomorrow, actually today, because this is being released today on Father's Day, we're going to be gathering together at the table of the Lord, which is open to everyone.
Yeah.
And so is there anything else that you want to say, anything that is on your heart that you just want to communicate with your church family?
Just keep an open mind. I'd say that's the one thing you can do during this whole thing. It's one thing to react on emotions and see things the way you want to see that you've always seen it, but keeping an open mind can lead you down to a road of success, especially when it comes to social injustice. So always keep an open mind. It's the last thing I would have to say.
Amen, man. All right. Now listen, for those of you who may be seeing this is a video we wanted to make for Heritage Hill Church and to edify the saints right here in our congregation. But we know this is going out on YouTube and anybody anywhere can see it. And I would just ask that you be respectful in your comments. There is no hate in any of this. And we just want absolute unity, and we want to bring healing to not just our country, but to the divides that are within our communities. And so our hearts are pure, and this is a brother of mine. And so thank you for taking time to watch this, and let's go do what God would have us do. Let's do the right thing. Amen? God bless you. We'll see you around.